it shall not be easy. Biafra will not give up for the second time. And Nigeria cannot win for the second time. And Biafra will not enter Nigeria as an aggressor. We will be in our land, defend our land, defend our territory, and they will be coming. They will come to the extent, they retire and go back. So it will not be easy on both sides. They will suffer, Nigeria will suffer casualty, Biafra will suffer. You understand? But to say no more victor, no more vanquish this time is completely lie. Because there must only be victor, there must only be vanquish. Eh? But Nigeria to separate, it's not negotiable. So it's a matter of Nigeria. To federalization Nigeria, that is what makes Nigeria to be, not to be unity of Nigeria, not to be negotiable. Eh? To be draining the economy of Biafra in the name of one Nigeria, that makes Nigeria not to be negotiable. To be killing Igbos, to open IDP camp in Biafra land, that will make Nigerian Biafra not to be negotiable. But to open the seaport in Biafra land, that one is negotiable. For Igbo man to be a president, that one is negotiable. Yedioha, as Governor Yedioha, to rule Imo State, that one is negotiable by Supreme Court. But to cause sensation to go, that one is not negotiable. Alhaji Abubakar, Minister of Defense, you are trying for not to dominate other part of Nigeria. It's not negotiable. But for other part of Nigeria to ask for their rights, it's death squad. Eh? You see? For a section to carry arms and kill others, it's good. But for others to rise up to say, why are you killing me? It's shut up. Don't talk. If you talk, you die more. It's not negotiable. Alhaji Abubakar, Minister of Defense, are you the one who make Nigeria to be one? Our God-given Prime Minister, His Excellency Simon Ekpa Njoko, have said this, that on 25th and 22nd will be something like Biafran military parade or Biafran military day, which the Biafran Defense Force, Biafran Civil Defense, and other armed forces will do what? Will parade and do some displays of what they have to defend themselves. You know, Biafran armed forces are not aggressive armed forces. They are not attacking armed forces. That's why it's Biafran Defense Force. They will be in their land, guarding their territory, with whatever God has given them as a weapon to defend themselves.
But do you not think this is opening this is will cause more, you know, how will I put it now? Will cause more problem for them?
No, it will not cause more problem.
Opening themselves for more attack.
It will not cause any problem. The ones they attacked before, those that attack, where are they? Is Biafran by God's grace not able to defend themselves? Now you see, there's a advert we say in Igbo language. Which is a little child who is learning how to climb tree must surely have a strong mind or strong heart. So I don't think that the Biafran government will come out to display their military hardware or their military strength without being conscious what will happen, without getting prepared if there's any eventuality. You understand? And this has proved to the world that they are really a nation. You know, in the first Biafran war, around November, December 1969, the one himself marveled and said, "You will let Biafra go in February, in 13th February 1970, if they can be able to hold up to that time." Because Biafra is no more a region, neither are they tribe or state, but they are nation. They have proved that they are nation because he go one have blocked them on the land, blocked them on the sea, blocked them in the air, and they are still able to operate without giving up. Before that, Afonja in Igbo land called himself Zeke, and the people like him, Efrefu leaders, went and called OAU. Zeke is over his dead body, went and called OAU to come and stop the war in favor of Nigeria. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the thing is repeating now. Even Nigeria themselves have known, forget about the pride, giant of Africa, they have known now that Biafra is a nation. That Biafra is not a pushover or run over. Biafra is a nation. Look at it. Even if at all, I did not remember anything. I remember from 2015, Buhari took over from Jonathan. See how the fierce battle going on the clear world. The Biafra are still to stand, resist them up to now. They are not able to take any Biafra land. What they have in Biafra land is Nigeria establishment. They have established before. But the current one, are they able to establish? They're not able to establish. Look at the IDP cap they want to establish. Are they able to establish it? No. That establishment that they have there are the one they have already established before this young generation rise up to demand for their birthright, which is freedom. So, I mean, Biafran army parade that took 2 days. I think today is the second day to end up today. At least they have proved that really they are nation. They are not states. They are not southeast, but they are Biafrans. You understand? And the world we see, be watching now to know what will be the reaction of Nigeria. And Nigeria themselves, what they have seen or heard is left for them to decide. To decide honorably, and let Biafra go. You understand? Because I don't think that another war is necessary. Another war like the former one is not necessary. Although there's war now, but it's not conventional war. So I don't think that any conventional war is necessary, because this time around, both sides, it shall not be easy on both sides. It shall not be easy. Biafra will not give up for the second time, and Nigeria cannot win for the second time. And Biafra will not enter Nigeria as an aggressor. We will be in our land, defend our land, defend our territory, and they will be coming. They will come to this tent, they retire and go back. So it will not be easy on both sides. They will suffer, Nigeria will suffer casualty, Biafra will suffer. You understand? But to say no more victor, no more vanquish this time is completely lie. Because there must only be victor, there must only be vanquish. And the victor will be Biafra. Because Biafra is not fighting to have dominion over Nigeria or to colonize Nigeria. But Biafra is fighting to have their independence. And the minute they have their independence, they are the victor. You understand? So I will advise Nigerian government to put aside the pride of the giant of Africa and to follow the rule of law and let Biafra go peacefully. Let the shedding of blood on both sides that have already done now, let it remain like that.
But you heard what the chief Minister of Defense just said recently. Said you know, secession of Nigeria is not negotiable. That is what is something that is compulsory, it's obligatory, and it's not, you know, something that they can negotiate. That's something that's what can I say to this? Is Mr. Abubakar said so in Plateau State during a peace meeting talk.
The minister, you call him Minister of Defense. Thank you. Abubakar, Minister of Defense. Alhaji Abubakar, Minister of Defense. Okay, Alhaji Abubakar, Minister of Defense. The unity of Nigeria is not negotiable. It has sealed and sealed. But is it the kidnapping, Boko Haram, Fulani herdsmen are negotiable? They will kidnap, they will rape, they will kill, and will still, Gumi will come and go and negotiate for federal government to pay them for what they have done. But Nigeria to separate, it's not negotiable. So it's a matter of Nigeria. To federalization Nigeria, that's what makes Nigeria to be, not to be unity of Nigeria, not to be negotiable. To be draining the economy of Biafra in the name of one Nigeria, that makes Nigeria not to be negotiable. To be killing Igbos, to open IDP camp in Biafra land, that will make Nigerian Biafra not to be negotiable. But to open the seaport in Biafra land, that one is negotiable. For Igbo man to be a president, that one is negotiable. Yedioha, as Governor Yedioha to rule Imo State, that one is negotiable by Supreme Court. But to cause sensation to go, that one is not negotiable. Alhaji Abubakar, Minister of Defense, you are trying for now to dominate other part of Nigeria. It's not negotiable. But for other part of Nigeria to ask for their rights, it's death squad. You see? For a section to carry arms and kill others is good. But for others to rise up to say, why are you killing me? Is shut up. Don't talk. If you talk, you die more. It's not negotiable. Alhaji Abubakar, Minister of Defense, are you the one who make Nigeria to be one? Are you the one who united Nigeria? Have you born when Nigeria was united? Who united Nigeria? Is it a Nigerian man? A foreigner came and to force ethnic nationality together. Force ethnic nationality together. You say that is good because you feel you are benefiting from it. You feel that it's favored you. Now, the ethnic nationality that a foreigner came and forced together and give them a monkey name, nigger area. Start to say no, this togetherness, we don't like it again. We are not consulted before they get together. Therefore, we have to separate now. If we will be together, then we have to renegotiate. Negotiate by ourselves, not somebody. A retired Colonel Lord Lugard criminal, a retired criminal, Colonel Lugard, a retired military colonel, criminal Lugard, came here from Britain. He crossed the whole Atlantic Ocean, came here in West Africa, and carried the whole ethnic group, joined them together, and called them nigger area, monkey area. You are not the one that did it. Do he consult anybody that when he was doing it? He just take pen and biro and write and sign. The amalgamation that bring Nigeria together. Do you see signature of any indigenous Nigeria? Even Usandafodio, do you see his signature there? You say it's not negotiable. Let me tell you, Abubakar, I'm very sorry. I'm not trying to insult you, but I'm trying to tell you the truth. Try to understand it. That it's not human being. It's not God that you unite Nigeria together. It's not God. It's not the will of God. I know that you're a Muslim. Go and ask your Allah. Go and ask your Allah. Pray and ask your Allah whether he's the one that unite Nigeria together. It's human being like me and you, because he has a colored skin like me and you, colors Nigeria. It's the same human being. We still separate Nigeria. The same human being, not God in heaven, not a spirit, not demons. It's human being, and human being will separate Nigeria. Human being will divide Nigeria. Human being will let every nationality to go on its own. Because it won't be that force it together. Human being will use force and separate it. If this cannot work, force can work. Okay, maybe he's right in another angle. Maybe he's trying to remind some people that they North and the West are the remaining Nigeria. Nobody should say this North and West should separate, because already, not today, that the Biafra have started preparing for their separation, and the separation is at hand. So I'm sure that it's not because of Biafra. Abubakar, Minister of Defense, Mr. Abubakar, or Elijah Abubakar, or Malam Abubakar, Minister of Defense, is referring to. Maybe it's referring to some people who this movement he made recently, that the British Prime Minister tell him no. Maybe now that one is referring. But as for Biafra, Biafra is already gone. They have already gone. The battle, this present generation is going to handle the battle for the upcoming generation, battle of freedom, not battle of agitation anymore. The battle for freedom. When they will hold the battle like this, the light of Biafra will be lightened like Olympic light. It will be on top of tower, burning like Olympic light, which the whole Africa will take to see road. So maybe he's talking of the West, Sunday Bohu and his men, and he's talking to them. Because you cannot eat your cake and have it. You cannot be president of Nigeria, benefit from Nigeria. The West are the most beneficiary of Nigeria. They say don't want to be Nigeria again. On whose stand? Have you stand in Aburi? Have you gone to Aburi and Aburi fell? You have to go to Aburi first and let Aburi fail. Then you start afresh. Not going to pretend to go and submit letter.
A human rights activist giving Tinubu the ultimatum. That is good. That is how it's supposed to be. Because if Igbo can as well successfully submit, whether they bring it out or they welcome it in UK, and nothing happened to him, is there anything different from that thing which Igbo act, that Igbo action and Mazen Nnamdikanu? There is no difference. So why are they taking Mazen Nnamdikanu own personal, as if Mazen Nnamdikanu has committed to what nobody has ever committed in this country and still have his freedom? Yes, it is good for them to free that man, because I learned that even the DSS, after the court case, September 24, whereby Nyako, the judge, hands off on that case, that the DSS have not given the room for his lawyers or any of his family members to see him. They said it was a slap and insult to the judiciary of this nation called Nigeria. He said the man embarrassed them because of that. But it is quite unfortunate that you are coming up to face a man like nnamdikanu with incompetent people. The people that are incompetent. And that is to tell you how incompetency Nigeria is. It have not nnamdikanu that insult Nigeria, but Nigeria are the ones that insulted themselves. Because they themselves, by themselves, violated the law of their land, which nnamdikanu clarified them. Are you getting it? So now they are denying him his civil right. But I learned that the court have already issued warning to the DSS saying that they should allow nnamdikanu to be visited by his people, to be checkmated according to the law. But whereby they refuse to do that, the DSS chairman, the boss, will be arrested and be jailed for violating the court law. You know, in the court, it was stated that nnamdikanu must not be restricted from being visited by his own people, either the lawyer or the family or anybody. You understand? Yeah. So now doing this, it is quite well and good that the Tinubu should remove that hatred on Igbos, because this thing is hatred. Tinubu, you hate Igbos. Out of this hatred, that is why you see Katuma nnamdikanu in the court, and your brother has submitted the same letter in UK, and you didn't do anything because he's a Yoruba man. If truly you want, you should have. If truly you don't want it, you should have arrested your brother and put him in DSS too.
So do you think that if it was an Igbo man, Tinubu would have arrested, Igbo or the Igbo man for, petitioning, the UK government for division?
Yes, I'm not thinking. It is the truth. That is what kept nnamdikanu in the custody. Even when court free him, and him came into power. Tinubu came into power. It was Tinubu that said he went to revisit the case of nnamdikanu, and they started going to court. If Tinubu want to be sincere to himself, if not the hatred, what stop him from saying, since court, the Supreme Court, which is the highest court in the Federation of Nigeria, has free you, or hey, there's you people should leave that young man, or you go your way. But because he is an Igbo man, Igbo went to London and submit his own. Look at Simon Ekpa. They have been looking way, if possible, to kill him, to murder him. Are you getting it? Because he's an Igbo man. But we have other Yorubas even saying, there's one, I don't know if he still remains the OPC boss, the one that Gani Adams. He himself was part of this Oduduwa. Why not Tinubu go and kidnap him, just as they kidnap nnamdikanu, or arrest him? All these people, and many, has come out, declare themselves that there are some group, even as I'm talking to you now, in Nigeria, which one happened to die either last week. Yes, last week. One among them died. They still stand agitating here, talking about Oduduwa. Why not Tinubu go and invade them and arrest them? No, let's be sincere to ourselves. Everything happens as a result of the hatred which he, Mr. President, had on Igbo people. And that is what is happening today. As you can see the kind of troops or soldiers and police that they send to East. Why not send it to West here? Yorubas have unveiled so many of their armor tanks and so many of some ammunitions in their land. Why not federal government, Tinubu, send people, soldiers to that place? Because this one is Igbo people. That is the hatred that they have against the Igbos. You understand me? So let's call a spade a spade. Let's call the truth. I am not speaking to entice anybody. I am speaking nothing but the truth. And that truth is what I will continue to speak.
why do you think the DSS they continue to still refuse despite the court ordering them to grant access, to nnamdikanu? Why do you think is it that because Nigeria is not a country that listen to what the court the court orders, or do you just think because they believe that they have the power to do anything they want, that's why they act in such a manner?
No, DSS did not have power to do what they want to do. DSS are acting under influence of power based on the position of the person in power and what they ask them to do. In Nigeria, they believe that once they are in power, you are above the law. Not like America, not like other advanced countries. Not even like Ghana here. No, Benny. Because these ones are better. Even what is it called? Burkina Faso is better than Nigeria. Are you getting it? I give you an example. During the time of policy 2023, cashless policy, you will find out that the northerners are collecting the money, old money. Only here they are not collecting the money. And if you say spend, they will tell you, say, Mayfield have not spoken, Buhari have not spoken. That is to tell you that Nigerian law, Supreme Court, does not exist. So long them in position there is concerned. On a normal phenomenon, whosoever that violated the law is supposed to face the law. Buhari doesn't supposed to be working freely. And Mayfield, likewise, the Mayfield too, they're supposed to be serving in jail time because the court have a rule and they themselves violate it. And whosoever that violate the law of the land, there's a consequences for that. But because in Nigeria it's a lawless country, let's say the truth. We don't value the law. The law is only meant for the masses, the poor masses, the masses. You understand?